All About Beer receives underwriting support from Goldfinger Brewing. They understand the importance of independent journalism in the beer space, and their support helps fund original work. Learn how you can affordably support journalists by visiting allaboutbeer.com/support.
Welcome to Drink Beer, Think Beer, the podcast that gets to the bottom of every pint. I'm John Holl. This week, it's a look at the Garden State. New Jersey isn't usually at the top of lists when it comes to craft beer, but the executive director of the state's Brewing Guild is looking to change that through initiatives and outreach. Brie Devlin will join me in just a moment. But first, I talk about this on the show every week, and you hear Andy Crouch every week at the cold open of the shows. The way we're able to keep bringing original content to the beer industry and curious beer drinkers is through your support. We've created an affordable underwriting program that is easy on your budget, helps you get visibility, and is an altruistic way to directly fund writers, photographers, and editors. Please visit allaboutbeer.com/support to learn more and to sign up. When you're at the website, poke around a bit. You can read some of the recent articles, peruse the archives, tune into other podcasts like One Iconic Beer with Jeff Allworth, Brewer to Brew, and the All About Beer podcast that's hosted by Don Tess and M. Souter. You won't be disappointed. Follow us on social media at All About Beer and keep up with everything we have going on. We'll get into the conversation in a moment, but first, here's a note from this episode's sponsors. We thank them for their support. We hope you'll give them your business.
Tim here again from Berkeley Yeast. Our Tropics yeast is based on a London ale strain, but we added a new gene to its genome that codes for a unique thiol-releasing enzyme. The enzyme converts the precursors in barley to free thiols that smell and taste like passionfruit and grapefruit. It's super clean. No off flavors like burnt rubber or other sulfurous notes, just tropical aromatics. You don't have to do anything unusual either, like mash hopping. Just pitch dry Tropics and supercharge your hazy IPA.
Calling all hopheads. Dogfish Head's 60-minute IPA is a fantastically hoppy India Pale Ale that's beautifully balanced thanks to their unique continual hopping method. Delivering a pungent hop flavor that isn't crushingly bitter, 60-minute is continually hopped throughout the boil for a full 60 minutes. Starting to see where the name comes from? Check out dogfish.com to learn more and to find some 60-minute near you. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
While I love my home state with my whole heart, I'm surprisingly not well-versed when it comes to New Jersey's beer scene. For the reasons you'll hear, I don't often get out on my own turf very often. So to catch up with what's happening here and why it matters and the good things coming down the pipeline, I'm joined by Brie Devlin, who runs the State Brewers Guild. From initiatives to upcoming events to the evolution of what breweries can do and what they want to do, she's here to break it all down. Here's our conversation. Brie, thanks for doing this. It's overdue. I tell people a lot, when folks are like, oh, what's going on in Jersey? And I'm like, I have no idea. I can tell you what's going on in other states because I spend more time at breweries in other states because like when I'm home in Jersey, I'm not getting out all that much. But, and when I am, I'm going to like the same three places that I've always gone, which is on me. Like I should be better about the state that I love so much. But I'm glad you're here because I can ask you and then get the real answer of what is the state of New Jersey beer these days?
Well, hi, John. Well, I think you and I first should set up a tour for us to go around and get you into some New Jersey breweries.
I can do that. Yeah. My problem is, and I've said this before, but my problem is most like breweries don't open until about 4:00 during the week, and then I'm busy in the evenings. I got family stuff, and then on the weekends I'm tired, so I don't want to go out to to a brewery. So like I need a place that opens at noon that I can go to for a few hours and. I don't know. That memo just hasn't gotten around to folks. Anyway, but yes, we'll find a time and we'll do that. But anyway, I stepped on you. So the state of beer in New Jersey these days?
So, obviously I think like most feelings of, kind of how people are spending their money, the conversation around people drinking less, I think New Jersey just in general over, 2015, 2016 is where we really saw that big boom where tap rooms were allowed to open. So, I think for the last 10 years, oh my gosh, 10 years now, breweries have kind of really struggled to find their place. especially in our state. I think we're such a small, big state that everything is so spread out. So we've never really had an opportunity to become a beer state. So yeah, I mean, in terms of what we're, oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry. I just got a little nervous.
No, you're good.
Um, yeah. So in terms of breweries in our state, the guild got back together in 2024, which has been great. I started in 2025. And, my goal and my mission is to really just get a culture for beer in the state. I think that not enough of our breweries are together enough, and everyone's obviously worried about their own businesses. But I think that right now where we're at is the guild on our end is fighting for our breweries to be able to operate fairly, mirror other states around us, and we're having active conversations, with whether it be the ABC or elected officials to be like, how can breweries, finally be competitive, finally prove what they've been contributing to the state. Breweries are great hubs for communities. So, in terms of what we want to see for the state, is we just kind of want to finally show and put a face to what New Jersey beer is.
So let's back up a little bit because you
Yeah.
said, the guild restarted in 2024. So this was a thing that, I think if beer nerds were paying attention or if you lived in the state, you kind of knew. But there was one guild for a long time, and then there was two guilds, and then there's one guild again. And in the period of time where there were two guilds, and this is me editorializing now, not much was getting done, despite double the guilds. And there was some confusion and maybe some infighting that was happening. And I know that's in the past now, but when the two guilds sort of came back together, what was the mission? What was the hope for the reunification and what that meant for brewery members and then drinkers as a result?
So it's funny. At the time, I actually think it kind of almost happened backwards. It's that they were forced to have the conversation because they were occupying the same space. So I had only started with the guild in 2025, but prior to that, I was volunteering. My background's in marketing, so I was helping on the marketing committee when they would have meetings. And then probably, while all of this was happening, I had to take a step back because I had a lot of other things going on. Um, but so, so 2018 is when the one group split into two. It wasn't until really early, I want to say 2024, maybe in late 2023, that, breweries as a whole, regardless of what organization or if you weren't even affiliated with either, they were, all breweries were coming down with the hammer on them. So, between the guild with their lobbyists, the association, so it was split into the two, with their lobbyists, everyone's in Trenton fighting for the same thing, but nobody takes anyone seriously when you're, like you had said before, there's infighting.
Yeah.
So everyone's there to support the same thing, but nobody's together. So, it actually had taken, one of our former board members to approach one of the members of the guild because they were with the association at the time. Excuse me. And was like, two of you need to have a conversation. We're all fighting for the same thing here. There needs to be a way to get the band back together.
Yeah.
And so, once that olive branch was accepted, things finally started moving forward. So, sorry.
And I mean that, and I think that was long overdue, and it was necessary. But when you say that, they're in Trenton fighting for things, so I imagine that there's folks who listen to the show who might also listen to Steal This Beer, and you can hear the regular Augie Carton complaints on things, which I've always said you have to take with a grain of salt. But what were the issues that breweries were fighting for? You mentioned before just even getting on a little bit more level playing field from neighboring states. I mean, what is it like to be a brewer in New Jersey when it comes to the laws the state has put in place?
Can you repeat the question one more time? I'm sorry, my computer cut out.
No. So basically just, what were the lobbyists fighting for at the Capitol, to get the state to help brewers be on, closer to more level footing, like, compared to other nearby states.
Oh, so the big, I mean, just kind of touching on what was the longest fight were all of this really comes back to clarification. I think that at the end of the day, that's what the different guilds wanted. That's what each individual brewery wanted as well, is that there was no place to refer to um, that people could follow and be like, this is what we can and this is what we cannot do. There were things that, would come up as interpretation. So things we wanted clarity on are okay. So the brewery tours thing that kind of came and went. A lot of this also too were temporary things that were allowed during the pandemic that were, that had an expiration date at some time.
And when you say brewery tour, so this was the silly thing. And again, I'm editorializing here, but this was the silly thing where anytime somebody walked into a brewery, even if it was just to pick up a 4-pack to go, had to take a brewery tour
They needed
from.
to take a brewery tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what that meant, I think, was again open to interpretation. I
And
mean, there were some places where I'd walk in and they'd be like, "Here's a piece of paper, you can read it over." And then there's other places that were taking it seriously, and it's like, "Come on a 25-minute tour with me around stainless and hoses." And it was, I think, fun for people the first time, but then
but you had to have it every time after.
yes,
There was no there was no real grace period, or if you'd been to the brewery and you said that was the thing, you had to ask if they've been here before. Even if they said no, you'd have to say, well, still take a look at this again. Or at the place that I had worked at the time, because I'd been in the industry for 8 years in the state, we would hand them a card and be like, this is a tour, if you have any more questions, please come up to the bartenders, we're trained to answer you. So I that's what that all was about.
but so looking for clarification on that, and like, what were the other issues, and I guess still what is the state facing? But like, let's start with like, what were they fighting for aside from tours?
So there, at the time, there were a lot of taproom restrictions that breweries were facing. There were 25 events per year that breweries can host, but that's inclusive of things like live music, trivia nights, classes, things like that. They had to be submitted. So, and when breweries are limited to 25 a year, or that's they could do one of those things every 2 weeks. So there were things like that. There were different things that we have a lobbyist, Eric Orlando, who is much more qualified to speak on the more convoluted things like contracting and the different, really digging into the ABC and the TTB, all of those different things that we were, having conversations about. But yeah, I mean, like, I sometimes feel so crazy talking about it, where I'm like, yeah, breweries couldn't have a TV. And, the conversation of if you added a lime to a beer, was that adulterating the product? So it's, when I'm
Yeah.
like, well, they were fighting to have TVs, it does sound so kind of minuscule, but at the end of the day, that's part of the bigger problem is, a lot of what was being, what was being talked about and what was being argued for felt like things that breweries should, have access to. There's different extension of premise things that we were fighting for, off-premise events, which are, really nice things that were afforded to breweries, and also put in writing. We were able to get more of those too. And, we're able to, at the end of that period of, of going back and forth in Trenton, to come out the other side with, all right, we've we've jumped that hurdle, but we can't be done. And I do think because of where things ended there, and I'm sorry, I think I misspoke before. This was the top of 2024.
Sure.
Um, and I think once all of that momentum stopped, so did advocating for that next step, because we're not done. There's so much more that breweries could have access to in the state, but the
So
fact
what are some good examples of that?
I'm very uncomfortable speaking about things like this because I don't know what I can and cannot say that might affect things that we have in place in terms of what we want. I don't know if I should speak on that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just one of those things that I don't know. I never want to say the wrong thing too soon, uh, and say it the wrong way. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, if that makes sense. So yeah,
Sure.
I, Um,
So then, as you think about, now 2 years of one guild again,
yes.
and what's been accomplished in that time, do you feel like there's a little bit more cohesion? Do you feel like the conversations are like easier to have, and now members are, I don't know, being more thoughtful as to what they want the next steps to be?
Yeah, I do actually. I think, so I've been doing this position for about a year, a little over a year now. And more and more as time goes on, people are more engaged. People are bringing up their issues. When things happen, we're hearing about them more. So I think that conversations are finally happening more and more, and I shouldn't say everyone, I'm not going to blanket statement, but um, you know, I think we're finally seeing, I keep calling it kind of like the renaissance of New Jersey beer. I guess maybe that's the way that I think about it. But I am starting to see this shift and this change that, people are feeling more positive because, not even just what's going on in our state. I think there's a broader industry problem that feels like, especially when I first started in this position, was always looming over every conversation. Every conversation was essentially like, it is what it is, and I'll do this until I can't anymore. And I'm excited to see that I'm optimistic that that conversation is happening with me less and less. People are starting to feel a little bit less defeated, even though it feels like you wake up and then they get hit with something again. Because costs are rising across our industry. So but in terms of the conversation and the goals, not everyone will always be aligned, to perfect tea, but I think everyone's getting closer to the mindset of a win for the industry is a win for everyone, because not everything is going to benefit every member. Not everything's going to benefit every size brewery. So I think, with the guild's main focus being to advocate for every brewery of every size as much as we possibly can, I think that, yeah, we're just seeing a little bit more faith in the industry in the state.
So, are you also getting buy-in from the brewery owners, or the brewers themselves as well? Because when I think about the states that have made big strides with either getting stuff changed over the course of the years, or have what seems to be strong camaraderie, it's because you have owners and brewers that are involved in the guild, not just passively showing up to meetings, or not even showing up to meetings, but just actively want to see the industry grow because they understand the impact for them. And I think of states like Ohio and New York and Arizona and Oregon, Illinois maybe comes to mind pretty quickly as well. Like, are you seeing folks understand the bigger picture outside of their four walls, and are they stepping up?
So in my opinion, so I guess the short answer to that is mostly no. I can confidently say that. However, I do think because of the distrust in what the guild/guilds had done for breweries in the industry, the guild needs to gain that trust back. So, and I think I was a very I want to say lucky pick for, when the board had approached me about taking on the position. Like I said, I'd been in the industry for 8 years. I worked at Zigmeister and Hackettstown for 8 years. I had a pretty good placement or pretty good standing with people in the industry. I, always went and supported other breweries events and anniversaries. So I feel like, especially this past year, is me reaching out to other breweries, reaching out to whether they're members or non-members, and being like, listen, I'd love to have you on board for this. This is important for your not even just your industry, but your business in particular. But I'm asking you to trust me. I want people to feel, because I know what a lot of the perception of the guild is, or was, I should say. I think that things are changing, and I do think that there are a lot of breweries in the state. We have just about under 50% of breweries as members, just for even, for data for that, right? yeah, blah, blah. Um, but, I think we're at a place right now with all of the things and, the things that we're going to be talking about that are maybe more promotional and marketing focused. We'll get a better presence for the guild to see that the guild is now actively doing things, to see that the guild has active programs happening, and all of the lobbying, which I think is the heart. I mean, that's really I shouldn't say the heart, I guess more so the mind of the guild is, legislatively focused, focusing on, how breweries can thrive in their businesses and operate as to the best of their potential. But where I kind of come in, I always say that I'm the heart, right? Like I'm the one that's, I love New Jersey craft beer. I want people and the industry to love New Jersey craft beer the way that I do. But and I think you kind of need to have both. Where in the past the guild only really had one. But when you have that one thing that's kind of internal, right? Like that's all happening behind the scenes. Our members don't know, obviously we give updates, but our members on the day to day don't know the conversations that, myself and Eric are having or that Eric's having with his peers or the board having. So now having both fronts of being like, okay, these are things that you need to see. And then once you see them, here are the things that, kind of bring it all together. So, I think that while my answer to that is no, I don't think they are. I do see, especially with the new crop of breweries that are opening within the next year, or even ones that have opened in the past year or two, is there's this like light in their eyes for wanting to be part of the guild, for seeing that bigger part of the industry that, we just need to bring that feeling back to people who have been in it for 10, 12 years, 20 years, even starting as home brewers. So yeah, I think that, I'm optimistic that, wanting to be part of it and wanting to, spearhead things, I think that's going to grow within the near future.
So there are breweries in planning, people in the state that are planning on opening their doors soonish.
Yeah, yeah, we've got. I mean, I've at least in my, I have breweries that are aiming to be open in the next month. I have some that are opening in the next, ideally, 3 weeks. Obviously, I have breweries that are hoping to open in the next month that told me back in September that they hoping to open a month, a month later too. But yeah, we have breweries that are building out from scratch. We have breweries that are opening. A lot of them are opening as taproom breweries, which I think is the smartest thing to do. They want to support their local community. We have breweries that are opening with great reputations, which I'm very excited about. Logan from who started Field and Oak at Kane is opening the Rose Court in Madison. There's Tom Nielsen who's opening. Um, oh gosh, that's not good.
Oh, the one in Berkeley Heights, yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. It's only escaping my name because now I'm thinking of every brewery. Um, Oh gosh, that'll Emberside. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Emberside. I saved myself there. Who worked at Sierra Nevada for 20 years. So I'm very excited of kind of what I'm seeing from the new crop of breweries that are opening and in planning of all different stages and all different, um, business models. And to see what kind of energy they can bring for people that have been in it for a while who are maybe a little bit jaded. Because I felt jaded for a while too. And then, me being around honestly other guild directors and other people that I hadn't met out of state, I'm like, okay, wait, no, beer is exciting and beer should be exciting for our state.
And I think one of the ways that you can get some of that juice going is obviously by getting the customers involved. Craft beer drinkers, fans are a passionate lot. And if you can sell them on a good story and a good experience, that's going to carry through, I think, back to brewers, back to owners as well. So, you were talking about, some initiatives and, ways of getting people involved, but there's a rebrand coming up.
Yes, I'm very excited for it.
All right. Tell me about it.
So we're very lucky. One of our allied trade members, who's an industry partner of ours, I kind of had spearheaded this idea when I had started. As I just had to get out of risk again. I'm so sorry now. I just sitting back down again. So one of our allied trade members works design group. I had approached them with this idea that I had. The guild doesn't have a lot of funds. We're a nonprofit organization. So I had approached them with this idea that I kind of came up in my brain. I'm like, what is the guild missing? What the guild is great, but what is the guild? As a consumer, I don't know the guild from any other beer marketing program. So I kind of came up with this concept of the beer garden state, which will have, brewery branding, there'll be industry partner branding, there'll be media branding. And the idea is to, take that garden state that we all know to be New Jersey and insert beer in there because we do work with a lot of our a lot of our members do work with their local farms. They do work with a lot of producers in the state, and we're known for our food. Our food is amazing. Our water is amazing. So being able to kind of tie in all of the things and that people love about New Jersey into beer, I was just really excited for it, and I went to one of our trade members. They loved the idea. They helped me put the whole thing together. And so, yeah, so we're actually going to be releasing that at the end of the month.
Very cool. I like that. And then I guess what's the hope with that? What's the goal with that for the drinkers?
So for drinkers, we will be, the biggest thing for you is that, how much our beer drinkers have given to the community of the industry. I always think about, and it chokes me up sometimes, but one moment when I think about this community that our industry has built, not only as a whole, but specifically in our state, and then going even further, what our breweries are doing in their own towns and communities. This whole community shows up for each other in some way. I remember during the pandemic, I was, a taproom manager, and everything felt so uncertain. And the first day of opening up and only being able to sell out of a garage door, and just being able to sell takeout. And 5 minutes before we opened, there were a line of 50 people at the door that their whole goal was. They wanted to see their local breweries do well. They wanted to see them thrive. And, I think about that and what I want to do for those people. So I think that this is a program for breweries. Obviously, it's a program for, bars that carry New Jersey craft beer and support. But I think the big goal of this is there is a way to thoughtfully give back to a community of people that, that drinking habits may have changed a little bit and don't go to their local breweries as much as they do. Or if they're going to a brewery, they're going to a destination where they can hit up 2, 3, 4 breweries in a time. So, we'll be rolling out obviously merchandise for all this, which is one thing, but we're actually working on putting together an app with incentives too. That will hopefully be up and running within the next 2 months. That one, unfortunately, doesn't come along as quickly as the rest of this, but there will be different offers, incentives there. We'll also be rolling out a beer garden club, which will have its own, different perks that you can benefit from. But our goal is, we're not looking to take money away from our breweries. We're not looking to just keep charging the consumer. We want to give them an opportunity to get direct access to our breweries, to, know what we're doing, to see the beer industry as fun as I see it. And I think that, showing people what they're, not to say what they're missing out on, but what they're missing out on and getting them to be part of this community that is crazy, that is all around booze and beer. But, I think that this program is kind of hopefully adding an extra level of community in a time where I think a lot of people need it right now.
I like that. And so June 4th is Pint Day?
Yes. So June 4th is our Pint Day. Pint Day was started in Colorado. And we are very lucky that a company called Belter is working with us. They are donating $1 directly from the guild, so none of the breweries in the state have to, they get to keep all the profits, which is great. So while this is a great fundraiser for the guild, this is also in turn, a way to get people back out in breweries. And, it's a weekday too. It's a Thursday night kickoff to the weekend.
Okay.
So, I can't wait to see, the breweries showing me their tap rooms, that it's full on a random Thursday night, that everyone is out almost essentially drinking a beer together, even though, everyone's separate. So yeah, and we designed some gorgeous we had hired an artist, Tom Schmidt, who does the label designs for Twin Elephant. He designed our first glass around the theme Cultivate the Garden State. And this glass is just a way to not only show off some elements of beer, but also just the elements that make our state so, so beautiful. And so it's got tomatoes and fish, and our the biggest emblem on it is our state bird. So I
Yeah.
am really, I'm very pleased with the glass, and I hope everyone goes out on to their breweries, to whatever brewery that has it on June 4th. We'll have a website that we'll share with all information that you need. Every brewery in the state that's going to be carrying the glass, and yeah, so it's a way for you to come out and have a pint with us on June 4th.
I like that. So, all right. So, if people want to know more about the initiatives and as you're releasing stuff, give us the social media, give us the website.
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram, Facebook at Brewers Guild NJ. I sometimes have been told I say brewer weird. So it's
It's
at
all good.
Brewers Guild NJ. And then our website is brewersguildnj.com.
Okay. So I've been asking folks before I let you go. I've been asking folks on the show for a long while now, what I call the green door question. And so the premise is on the TV show The Good Place. In the final season, they introduce a concept of a green door where the characters can walk through it and be wherever they want, doing whatever they want. So if we had a green door on our plane of existence and you could walk through it when this conversation ended and be at any pub or any brewery anywhere in the world, where would you want to go? Who would you want to be with? And what would you like to be drinking?
Oh, I love this question. Okay. Who I want to be with is easy. My very long-term boyfriend, Giancarlo, who I do love so much, and we have the best time together, so I'd like to be with him. If I am going to a pub, oh man, I do this girl likes a drink, so I'm trying to think of oh, you know what? I'll just in the theme of next week being CBC, there is this send me to Monks. Send me
Okay.
to Monks. And what I'll be drinking, I will most likely be reaching for a Schwarzbier
Okay.
or a Doppelbock
I love it. At Monks, which
at Monks.
everybody,
Which
yeah, if you,
maybe you'll find me at Monks in a
I
couple days.
probably will.
Probably will.
Yeah, I feel like in Philly for the Craft Brewers Conference, all roads are going to lead
The Monks.
to Monks. Um,
Yeah.
Bree, thanks for doing this. Thanks for everything you're doing for the state. Like I said at the top, admittedly, like I am not as versed in the state that I know and love as nearly as much as I should be. So I'm glad that there are competent folks like yourself who are fighting the good fight and making it easier for whenever it is I get out to breweries and whenever it is that everybody else gets out there as well. So thanks. I'm excited about Pint Day. It's on the calendar and the beer garden state. I love it. It's time for this. So I'm glad you're
Thank
doing it.
you. Oh, thank you. And your support means everything, John. You've been a great friend to know
Oh,
uh,
stop.
and have during this whole time. So thank you. Yeah.
Come visit New Jersey, hang out at our breweries, drink a lot of pints, enjoy it. Go to the shore, go to the Pine Barrens, go to the Highlands. It's great. You're going to enjoy it if you're here. A reminder, you can catch me anytime on email at johnholl@allaboutbeer.com. That's JOHNHOLL at allaboutbeer.com. Make sure you join the This Week in Rauk Beer group on Facebook or follow at TW Rauk Beer on Instagram. Upload your photos, join the conversation. And you can support us by visiting allaboutbeer.com/support. When you're at the website, you can check out new content as well as the archives, which go all the way back to 1979. And you can find the links to follow All About Beer on social media. Before we go, here's a note from this episode's sponsors. We thank them for their support. We hope you'll give them your business.
Tim here again from Berkeley Yeast. My favorite part about Tropics in a dried format is that it makes it easy to use Tropics more like an ingredient than a yeast strain. It's a great tool for turning tropical flavors up or down. Tropics on its own makes big notes of passionfruit and grapefruit, which is great for a lot of recipes, but sometimes you want to dial that thiol character down. Easy. You can just co-pitch at different rates with your house strain. If you want to dial it up, especially if you're using a pretty aggressive hop bill, then just add Tropics Boost. It's pure precursors dissolved in water and ethanol. Go to berkeleyyeast.com to find out how to turn the thiol dial to exactly where you want it.
Calling all hopheads. Dogfish Head's 60-minute IPA is a fantastically hoppy India Pale Ale that's beautifully balanced thanks to their unique continual hopping method. Delivering a pungent hop flavor that isn't crushingly bitter, 60 Minute is continually hopped throughout the boil for a full 60 minutes. Starting to see where the name comes from? Check out dogfish.com to learn more and to find some 60 Minute near you. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly. Hey friends, this is Andy Crouch at All About Beer. Let's take a second to thank our friends at Human Robot in Philly for their support of All About Beer. As one of our newest underwriters, Human Robot shows that it loves great words and pictures about beer as much as 10-ounce milk tubes of Czech-style Mliko pours, something they invented. With their focus on classic styles and most importantly great lager beer, Human Robot has understandably made a great name for itself. Join me in celebrating their luscious lagers and fine ales. And also, join Human Robot and the more than 25 other sponsors as part of the All About Beer community.
If you like smart audio content, a reminder, All About Beer has a separate podcast channel. Search and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. Listen to shows like Brew to Brew, which is now a weekly show, the All About Beer podcast with M. Souter and Don Tess, and One Iconic Beer with Jeff Allworth. Steal This Beer has new episodes every Monday. The BYO Nano podcast comes out on the 15th of every month. And as for this show, Nate Schweber does the music, Jeff Quinn designed our logo, and I'm John Holl. New episodes release every Wednesday, and that's when I'll be back again to drink beer and to think beer.